The hijab has become more than just a piece of cloth for Iranian women. It has triggered a movement in the country. Mahsa Amini's death in the custody of Iran's morality police triggered a chain reaction. Women-led protests have rocked the country ever since. And the protesters are not backing down despite a brutal crackdown and death sentences. Support has been pouring in from around the world, and the country where hardline Islamic regime holds no respect for women's basic rights could now be considering reviewing its hijab law. The hijab became an obligation for Iranian women in 1983. This was 4 years after an Islamic revolution overthrew the US-backed monarchy. In July, Iran's ultra-conservative president Ibrahim Raisi called for all the state institutions to enforce the headscarf law. This was met with resistance by the country's main reformist party, which called for the law to be rescinded. The hijab remains a highly sensitive issue in Iran, conservatives insisting that it should be compulsory, while reformers want to leave it to individual choice. As the country struggles to quell the protests, reports say authorities would review the decades-old law. In fact, Iran's Attorney General, Mohammad Jafar Montazeri, has said that the parliament and the judiciary are discussing whether the law needs any changes. However, it cannot be overlooked that both the bodies are largely in the hands of conservatives. The Attorney General did not specify what could be modified in the law, but he did say that the results will be seen in a week or two. According to President Raisi, Iran's Republican and Islamic foundations are constitutionally entrenched. But the conservatives say there are flexible methods of implementing the constitution. The main reformist party has demanded that the authorities must prepare the legal elements that are required for cancelling the mandatory hijab law. The opposition group has called for the Islamic Republic to officially suspend the morality police and allow peaceful demonstrations. There have been reports that the morality police had been disbanded. When asked about the police, the Attorney General Montazeri said that they have been shut down from where they were set up. The government, however, has not confirmed the move, and local media has reported that his remarks had been misinterpreted. Iran accuses its sworn enemies in the West of inciting protests, which it calls riots, on the Iranian streets. The campaign of arrests, not sparing even sports players, celebrities or journalists. But if all of this pays off, it could be a historic victory for Iranian women. And with me on the broadcast is Dr. Koshar Waladbeki, who is a Kurdish Iranian human rights activist and political analyst. Thanks very much for being here. What is your assessment of where things stand at this point? A huge question mark over the status of the morality police, reports suggesting that Iran could be disbanding those police units, while local media also reporting that the comments that have been made have been misinterpreted.
Thank you. First and foremost, it's important to highlight that authoritarian governments will suggest reforms when their hold on power is threatened. So they will make widespread statements to temporarily distract the public and the media from human rights authorities and the protesters' demands. So in the last couple of days, we've seen that it's been a lot of propaganda from the regime itself in regards to the removal of the morality police. So the morality police are part of Iran's constitution. So that makes them the identity of the Islamic regime of Iran. So if the morality police is abolished, it means that the regime is no longer in power. And if, let's say, if they demolish the morality police, the oppression in Iran will not disappear with this. So the fact that the morality police units have been invisible in public does not signal that their removal is just because they have been part of other security forces or been going under different names and been doing the job, or like other security forces have been doing the job of the morality police. And this is a propaganda from the regime to send messages to the West and say, hey, look, we are listening to the people, we are reforming the hijab law, and we are removing the morality police. Also, for weeks, Iran has been preparing for a nationwide strike, which started today, actually, until the 7th. And that's another thing that they will shift. They wanted to shift the focus of the media from, and shift focus from individuals or the civilians from this. I also have contacts with people inside of Iran, where they have been the propagandas inside also, where they've staged people going into the shopping malls, and they are dressed very lightly. The women do not have a headscarf, and they're walking around. And this is another way of, again, shifting the focus of the West and shifting people's focus on what's happening and what people actually want. So this revolution in Iran, it's not purely a hijab revolution, and it's really never been about the just the hijab. It is a revolution for basic human rights. It is a revolution for equal rights, like freedom of expression, for freedom of political views, especially when it comes to the minor ethnic nations.
Where do you think headed? Where do you think things are headed at this point then? Because this movement, like you're saying, is about a lot more than just the hijab law. It is about expressing the anger on the ground against the Iranian regime. So do we see the protests intensifying? Do we see the protesters being pacified for a brief period?
It has been a very difficult situation, especially in areas like the Kurdish areas in Balochistan, in Kurdistan. There have been heavy crackdowns on protesters. So people have been taking a step back. But as I mentioned today, a general strike, economic strike has started, and all the majority cities in Iran, especially in the ethnic areas in Kurdistan and Balochistan, it's a total shutdown. So the people inside of Iran are not stopping. It might take longer. They might do it in a different way because, again, of the heavy military crackdowns on certain areas, that within a period of a week, more than 200 people were massacred, were killed in the Kurdish areas.
All right, we're leaving it there for the moment. Thanks very much for being here on the broadcast and sharing those perspectives. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.